Welcome to the Legacy Through Land podcast, where we're dedicated to empowering you on your journey to land ownership and management. I'm Tyler Markham, your host, and each week we'll dive deep into the world of land investing, management strategies, and the transformative experiences tied to owning your very own piece of dream dirt. With our expert guests, inspiring stories, and actionable advice, we're committed to helping you become a better land manager, hone your investing skills, and start building your family's legacy through land. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. We hope you'll enjoy. What is up, and welcome back to another episode of the Legacy Through Land podcast, episode 29. Dude, this is a struggle to know these, so sorry. I don't think I'll ever quit struggling with that. I love doing the business. I love being out and making deals happen and improving farms and all the stuff that we're doing right now. So I just kind of forget what podcast episode it is. But today, my goodness, do we have a treat. I am just so thankful that I was able to build somewhat of a friendship with Mr. Shawn Luchtel at Heartland Bowhunter. And it's afforded me the opportunity to get him to come on and talk shop with us. So I'm literally not going to enter this any longer than you guys have an enormous treat coming. Let's jump right into this episode of learning about the back in the day of Heartland Bowhunter. We're talking a little Faith, a little Charlie Kirk, a little TV Heartland Bowhunter, and what Shawn's excited about for the rest of this year. Let's jump in. Hope you enjoy. They've told me in my edits, I have to let this get going for a minute because sometimes it kind of freaks out in the beginning and I talk too soon and then it looks weird. So we're just going to, all right, we're up. You know, it's like when you got to get the VHS tape warm before you
That's right.
Get it going. All right. We're doing this thing. Welcome back to the Legacy Through Land podcast. I know you guys probably have no clue who Shawn Luchtel is. So we're going to take a minute here and just talk through, like, he's got a show. They're working hard. They're trying to get things going with it. They got a couple YouTube episodes out, I think. So dude just kept blowing me up how he wanted to be on the podcast and apparently has a story to tell, but whatever. We didn't have a guest this week. So, we finally let the guy on. So I don't know, sir. What is your name and what do you do again?
Yep. Shawn Luchtel, you actually received money from me, so I paid you to be on this podcast, and I appreciate you doing that. No. I'm Shawn Luchtel, Heartland Bowhunter, and some people probably haven't heard of who we are. So I actually, we hear that all the time. So,
dude, you guys all know if you're listening, I am totally messing with you guys. It is an enormous honor to have Shawn come on. So, I'm thankful to call him a friend. We just connected through this deer hunting thing, and we've both thought about it a little bit. And so Shawn was a speaker at the West Virginia Bowhunters Convention. I don't know, it was 3 or 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was about 3.5. And I remember you came up to me before they have the area where, people have booths and stuff set up. I had a table. My wife was there with me, and you came up and you were obviously very outgoing, asking questions, familiar with HB, and we talked for a while. I mean, you stood out among quite a few people I met that day, so that was awesome. And then you were there at the banquet in the evening when I spoke, and it was awesome. It was cool. I remember you were even sitting up pretty close up front, so I remember seeing you while I was talking. But no, it's cool because sometimes you feel like you're talking to a room full of people you don't know, and granted, I just met you that day. I still felt like I knew you to an extent. And so it makes it easier for me. I feel like if you're talking to a lot of people and you have someone in the room that because then you start to key on those people rather than just blank staring across a room of people you don't know at all. And you're like, hopefully this is received well.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, it blows my mind that I was outgoing and just ran my mouth and somehow it puts you on my podcast a few years later, but here we are. God, I tell people it usually doesn't generally serve me well that I talk and open my mouth, but here we are. So usually the technology issues are on my guests' end because they're out in the middle of nowhere killing animals. But today it was me at home with my fiber internet. So we had a little snafu, but we're jumping back in. Shawn was nice enough to say that I made such a lasting impression that during his talk, he felt like he could talk to a friend. So, hey, if that's what got us to where we're at, real talk, all jokes aside, it's been really, really good getting to know him. And we were able to have a conversation just a couple of weeks ago that we are definitely going to talk on here that is God. I mean, it's just God. We were talking about this Charlie Kirk situation and just kind of how it's impacted us. And man, it is God. It is just God that builds these kingdom connections. And I've wanted to have Shawn, obviously it goes without saying, I've wanted to have Shawn onto the podcast for a long time. We just couldn't afford his contract price. So we had to push it back to get the $100,000, down for the contract to get him on. And we finally wrote a check and, got him on. But nah, dude, real talk. I cannot wait to have some fun today. So thank you for being on here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
really
man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you guys openly, there is so much to talk about with Shawn that I don't need no script. And it's because we're people of faith. Now I don't have near the jawline he does, but we equally have beards. And we like to hunt stuff. And he has done a little filming in his past. If you guys haven't checked out Heartland Bowhunter, they've done a little bit. So real talk, I'm a huge fanboy of theirs. And I watch everything they do and I study their content. And I think that it goes without saying in the industry, they have pioneered the way for how to tell a beautiful story that's different than what the industry was for a long time. And I really, really looked up to that. Like really did, still do look up to it. It's why I have, I don't know, $10,000 to $15,000 worth of camera equipment that he told me to buy. And, if you have a $3,200 lens, Shawn promised it would be great footage. I've had trouble getting the good deer in front of the lenses, but had great lenses. So it's,
that's a problem for us too. So I get where you're coming from on that one.
Okay. Yeah. It's so weird. Like you have all this equipment in a tree and it's just, the hunting hasn't gotten easier. So the gear is nice, but, all jokes aside here, what I thought would be beneficial with Shawn, we could of course talk about the many amazing seasons they've had. We could talk about all the things that are specific hunts you guys probably know like I do that have really tugged on my heartstrings or just built my belief in hunting or just impacted me to be a better sportsman. Like I think they do such a good job of illustrating. I wanted to peel back the layers and I was hoping Shawn would be willing to just talk to us as listeners and then watchers, if you're on YouTube, about what was HB before it was what we know now. We all know HB. And if you haven't already, let me, good luck here. I got the HB hat on, but Shawn equally did realize it crinkled. So it's bad luck. So I'm turning it around for some good juju. But let's go back to memory lane. If you're good with it. Oh
yeah.
I want to hear the beginnings of HB. Like that's way before what we know it as today. Peel it back with us if we can. Where do we even start?
Yeah, so I'll start it with even before HB was ever even a thought, at least in our minds. So Mike and I, and if you don't know who Mike is co-host, co-owner, whatever you want to call it, business partner of mine with Heartland Bowhunter. And Mike and I met back in
you guys are still working on being friends, right? Just not friends, just all those other
we're almost there. Yeah, after whatever it's been, 25 years or so of knowing each other. Yeah, it's been 25 years. We've known each other about that long, maybe 26, but it was in junior high, man. We I remember we would before school there was like this area in the gym for whatever reason. I don't know why they did this, but it was like kids would go hang out before school started if you were there early enough and just to hang out and socialize and talk or whatever in the gym. And I remember meeting him there in seventh grade. And we just somehow started talking about hunting. There's a pile of kids standing there talking and whatever. And that was what shared in common was hunting. And his dad got him started. And then mine also. His dad got him started with rifle hunting. His dad didn't bow hunt, and so my dad did get me bow hunting. But anyways, we shared that common interest and just kind of hit it off from there. It didn't really lead anywhere with right away or anything. But we'd come back in November and share some pictures or whatever if we got a deer with each other. And there was like one other buddy of ours that did the same, but out of a few hundred kids, that was our connection between the rest of everyone else. Nobody else really shared that. So,
and where's your hometown? Where are you guys growing up at this time?
So he lives in, he has always lived in Lee Summit. I live technically in Grain Valley, but it was Lee Summit School District. So we still went to the same school district. And, so it's only like 10, 15 minutes from here, and suburb outside of Kansas City. And, so we ended up obviously going to the same high school, and that just, strengthened our relationship between bow hunting and everything. But he played football. And so in the fall, he was tied down with.
I could see that.
Yeah. He was tied down with that, and I was out bow hunting because I was too small. I didn't play football. I wish I was bigger. I wanted to play, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. So I could go bow hunt. And he was tied down with that until November, and then once they were done with football, he could start hunting, and he still killed some great deer after that. But ever so often I'd get one, before he even had a chance to go hunting. And
that's awesome.
So all the way through high school he played, and then we ended up becoming really close friends by our senior year. And I could not score well on my ACT.
I'd like to bring my sister on here and blackmail her as well.
Dude, it was bad. I have no shame.
All right, Shawn, let's break this down here. If anybody, I don't know if ACT is that a national scoring system. I'm just a redneck West Virginia boy, but I always was told if you got a 14 on it, it was just putting your name on it. You got like a 14, I think my sister got like a 17 or 18, like 4 years in a row. So
I took it 5 times and I scored a 19 every single time.
I took it 4 and got a 21 every single time. My mom was, very unhappy that I'm taking more math classes every year and still getting, same scores. I was like, look, this is the ceiling God has for me. Okay. Can't get any higher. All right. So 19, let's go.
I couldn't.
And let me guess, was Mike doing better in this regard, or what happened?
Oh yeah. I mean, he was, I can't, don't quote me on it. I think he was around like a 25 or 26, something like that.
Yep.
And, so he could pretty much go to school where he wanted, but, he wasn't sure where he wanted to go exactly. I think he was a little torn on playing football on some D2, D3 schools or whatever. And then, we also shot, trap together, American Trap. And so, he got an opportunity. He was pretty good. He was a little better than I was, he had a scholarship offer to Lindenwood University in St. Louis and, for shooting trap. And he's like, well, I might do that, Well, him and I were hunting together quite a bit at that point, as much as we could. And, he's like, man, I just want to be able to hunt. Like, I don't want to go too far. I want to be able to hunt in Missouri, where we're from, and not be too tied down with stuff. And so he's like, I think I'm just going to go there and do this trap thing and, help pay for my school. And, I'll try that for a while. And so he's talking to the coach, and he's like, he basically, I think, negotiated this from what I remember. He's like, if I'm a part of the trap team, my buddy has to come along, and he's going to be on the trap team too. So they gave me a scholarship.
So this is like on Step Brothers, we're going to interview as a team here.
Yeah. And so they gave me a scholarship. They wanted me to see my scores, but that was just like, here's my scores that I have. Like, there's nothing special. Like, I didn't even go compete at state, I don't think.
Well, I'm going to play dumb here a second. When I'm making an assumption, but when you say trap shooting, you're saying skeet shooting.
No.
See?
And so I didn't even, it was just straight trap. So like 5 stand trap. So there's 5 stations, and you're just there's a house out in front of you, and it'll shoot to the right, shoot to the center, shoot to the left. And that's it. Like, it's not cross or, over your head or anything like that. That's skeet.
Okay.
And so the coach was like, all right, we'll give him a scholarship. Well, this wasn't like a full ride, but it covered a decent amount of my tuition and everything. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to college. I was going to go to community college, but I actually get to leave and go to a 4-year university.
Oh my gosh.
It was a college. It wasn't a university.
I want to bring Mike on like in a year, and we'll get like his version of all this.
Yeah, it might be a little bit different, but this is what I'm going off memory. And, yeah, so we end up going there, and then we're like, this is great. We're gonna go to school like a few days out of the week, and then we'll just go hunt like when we have free time. And so freshman year we go there, and we started filming our hunts like nonstop just for fun. Like, didn't really have any direction with it. We just enjoyed filming.
What era would this be as well? What era?
This would have been 2006.
Aha. Okay.
And so
we're about the same age then, I think.
Yeah, I'm 39.
I'm 36. Okay. So, because I was thinking here, 2007 is when I graduated high school. You would have graduated
05.
Okay. So, all right. So 2006, let's do a little fun here too. In 2006, correct me if I'm wrong, Shawn, gear wise, are you guys using mini DV tapes at this point?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This was just on a handy cam.
Yeah. This isn't like this isn't the GL2 days, right?
They were there. Yeah. We just didn't, we couldn't afford it yet. And so,
okay, man, we're dating ourselves here. The mini DV tapes.
Yeah. It was wild.
They'd get wet and like, you know, I just remember like, gosh, we forgot to bring new ones. So we have to record over this.
Yeah. Or like if you recorded a hunt or something, you wrote it on the tape and you're like, this is it. This is right here. This is cool. I want to watch this. You'd have to put it back in the camera and plug it into your TV through, I don't even know if it was HDMI at the time.
It was like the RCA cords, man. It was like the red, yellow, white.
Yeah, you're right. That's what it was. Yeah. And you're like, wow. You know, you'd rewind or fast forward through the
and
stuff.
then it would tear the tape up. You're like, we can't watch it. We cannot do this. It's too dangerous.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I don't even remember how, like, I know that we had a tape deck eventually down the road, but I don't remember how you would even back that up before you had a tape deck.
That's why I wanted to ask you. Yeah, I didn't mean to stop you, but in the eras, as people are listening, like I listened to a podcast the other day with the Hunter guys, and they had Will Primus on there, and the stories that Will was able to tell, just eras wise, you know, just stuff we've forgotten about, like that it wasn't. Yeah. It was amazing to walk back. So I'm doing this with you in my brain. 2006, that would have been mini DV tapes. It was quickly becoming digital, but carry on. All right, so 2006, he drags you into a scholarship.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, and so I mean it's amazing. Like definitely a God thing looking back, but yeah. So we go to school there. We start filming our hunts more, and like we. There was a guy that was working for my dad at the time that I kept in contact with quite a bit, and his name's Larry McCoy, and he's worked in the industry quite a bit now, and he was big into it, and he was like, hey, there's this other guy starting this thing called Heartland Bowhunter, and like we're like, well, what's that, you know? And so we started talking to him, and they're like, we're looking for some guys to be on board, like they want to film too. So Mike and I start talking to Larry, and then the guy's name was Jeff Simpson that was starting HB. And so like most people don't know this side of the story because I don't ever have a chance to tell the full long length of the story. So I usually keep it short. They'll be like, how'd you start it? And I'm like, I'm not going to get into the long story of it because I don't have time. So I'll be like, oh, we just filmed a lot. We filmed a lot in college. And then, you know, it was kind of, we were in business class together and it just kind of evolved from there. And we were able to do our thing. Well, this is the full version of it, how it all went. So Jeff had started this. And if you go back and look at like the first 2 seasons of Heartland Bowhunter, you would see Jeff. And so we started filming for Heartland Bowhunter. My dad owned a machine shop, which is where Larry worked. And then the idea to go along with Heartland Bowhunter was the tree arm. It was called the Sniper Pro tree arm. And they started manufacturing that. And Heartland Bowhunter was going to start selling these.
Okay.
So with that tree arm, that was how they were going to market themselves as a TV show because of the cinematic or steady footage that you could capture through this tree arm. And so everything was geared towards just selling this tree arm. Well, everyone quickly figured out that like back then you're going to sell to some TV shows, but I mean, this was like a $700-800 tree arm.
Right.
Like
no one can afford that.
The general public's not really going to buy that. Only guys that are extremely serious. So your market's very minimal. And so through marketing that and trying to show the steady footage, it was like, well, you know, maybe we should just roll with like the TV thing, you know, or online content. And online at the time was like uploading stuff to your website, and that was extremely slow. I mean, dial-up was still around. And it was tough. So the main goal was just to be on television. And so after a couple seasons, we were into our second season, and I introduced Jeff to my friend Trevor Hawkins, who was a childhood friend, skateboarder, not a hunter at all, but a filmmaker, and like thoroughly enjoyed making films. And so I introduced him to him, and I was like, this guy obviously has an eye for cinematography and can obviously edit very well. Maybe he could edit our show. So Trevor took over the show the second season and totally, like, completely changed it, like refaced it to where that was really like the niche that we kind of established through Heartland Bowhunter, was our cinematography and storytelling. And it was through Trevor's perspective outside of the hunting industry to where the light bulb went off, and it was like, wow, we actually have something here that's unique and different from what the rest of the industry is putting out, which was at the time like not storytelling really. Yeah. We were thankfully just like the first ones to come to that forefront in the industry, and so that was what set us apart. And then about year 3, let me backtrack a little bit. Year 2, my dad also, they were seeking investment in the company, Jeff was, so my dad invested. And by year 3, there were some other investors as well. Year 3, things weren't going good. And so they parted ways. Jeff went his way, we went our way, and we were literally left like with, look, here's Heartland Bowhunter brand. If Michael and you want to take this over, here's your opportunity. There are no more investment dollars. We can't even afford to pay you right now.
Yeah.
See what you can do with it.
So,
and by then we were working.
That's 2008 or so?
2008. I think it was right around there. 2008, 2009, somewhere in that time frame.
So let me ask a question real quick to get this timeline here. I hate to keep stopping you.
No, you're okay.
Hopefully it'll bring some context to this, because this story is amazing. So in the beginning, it sounds like it was a Jeff, it was a Larry, it was Michael, you, and then
and there were some other guys that were filming for the show. As far as ownership goes, it was Jeff, and then it ended up being my dad and a couple other guys. And then that changed.
And then Trevor came in as an editor. Trevor Hawkins, not to be confused with Tony Hawk, same.
Right. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep. And so after that, Mike and I were starting to wrap up school. So this, now that I'm thinking about it more in depth, this would have been 2009, 2010 actually, because that's when we were finishing school. And they're like, you guys can run with this and see if you can make it into something. And at that time, like, the stars were aligning, because we're fresh out of college, like no families, just single guys, really don't have anything to lose. It's like, if you can still feed yourself and find a place to sleep, I think you're going to be okay. And I remember that's like the one thing I took away from business school was like, if you're going to take risk, take your risk now. Don't wait till you're 30, 35 and have a family and more people that are reliant upon you. So it was just all perfect. And I was working a part-time job out of college. Mike, I'm trying to remember. I don't think he really had hardly any income at the time, but he was like, I'll just put everything I have into this, as far as time wise.
Okay.
And Trevor stayed on as well as the editor, and we were able to just grow up from there. That would have been like season 3, season 4, where we took it over. And
what would the lineup have looked like then? And real quick, if you guys haven't heard this clearly, I want to make sure I'm hearing this clearly, Shawn. Heartland Bowhunter technically wasn't your brand at first. You came into it in its very, very early stages. When we all know Heartland Bowhunter and we think Shawn and Mike and then a cast, it sounds like that obviously wasn't it, but you guys were given a choice to bet on yourselves. You had $0 to be given. You had a basically dead brand on life support. We could call it, the words failed brand would be too strong, but close, flirting with a failed brand. And it's up to you guys to resurge this, to bet on yourselves, take it over, and grow it to what we know today. So obviously all the listeners know how this story went, but I have a good feeling there's a little bit more to the story. And so let's keep going. So you said this would have been about season 3. What would the cast, if you remember, in that year, in that time frame when you guys kind of took it over, did you almost have like a Do you guys almost have like, I want to call it like a postmortem or a safety meeting or a, whatever, where it's like, all right, we're doing this, the band broke up, but we're going to keep the band alive and here's what we need. And you know what I mean? I'm equating this to music, but do you almost have that when that happened?
Yeah, we did. It was a meeting between Mike and I, my dad, and then a couple of the other guys that were investors. And they're like, we're not putting any money into this. You guys have a brand that has been established, which I do give credit to Jeff for that. It was there for sure, obviously. And as far as funding goes, like, you guys are going to have to figure that out. We had some sponsors at the time, which when we parted ways with Jeff, some of them left. They were like, we don't want anything to do with it now. We have the relationship with him, so see you guys later.
Yep. So this was a real reset. I mean, this is a big reset.
Yeah, it was a huge reset. And a few of them stuck around. I'm trying to remember. There was Bowtech was a partner the first year. They were not a sponsor the second year. And then whenever we took it over, they came back on board. They believed in us, and they still are with us to this day. So they were one of the original ones, as well as Reconics. Very, very, very loyal brands and companies that, man, we wouldn't be where we are today without them. And then
so that would have been
those
season
might be
3.
it.
Who do you think would be in the cast as we talk about the resurgence?
Sorry,
no, that's fine.
You asked me that question already. So obviously Mike, Larry was still there, and then Ty, easily, Skylar, Clayton, and that was it at the time, from what I remember. And then we added a few more people along the way. But for the most part, it's stayed very close to its original core, as far as guys involved. And I'm thankful for that, because very loyal guys that we have with us. Nate Flynn. He was a part of it as well at the time, and still is today. And Larry ended up taking a job in the industry, and so that kind of led him a different direction. But still like Larry, still talk to him from time to time. And other than that, the rest of the guys are still here. So it's evolved into what it is today from basically that. Like, it's just grown and grown. And at the time, I remember, I also wanted to hit on the cast again. So Trevor, we went, I think, to season 8 with Trevor, and Trevor's like, man, the hunting thing's cool and I enjoy it. And we've grown it into what it is today, but I'm not a hunter really. I enjoy filmmaking, and that's what I want to do. And he's gone on to work on some feature films and do his thing. And so that's where he's at now. But people always ask, so you guys went to school for this, right? And it's like, no.
We went to school.
We went to YouTube school. That's pretty much it. Everything we learned was online, and all that information was out there, and it was pretty phenomenal. And I'm referring to the cinematography side and editing and all that, the storytelling and whatnot. So
I'm going to keep jabbing. So season 3, you kind of have the resurgence, let's say. You have the Heartland Bowhunter 2.0, and obviously no slight to anybody in the 1.0 era. Just for sake of conversation, this is the kind of the resurgence, the sophomore album. I'll continue to bring this to a music concept. And at that time frame, obviously you go into digital, you go into all these things. Something that I think would be interesting to talk through, Shawn, is that the kind of pathway that you guys had from, and I'm curious as what it looks like today, if your heaviest presence is on TV today versus socials versus both, in these eras. I think you would agree there's a time where the online presence was as strong, if not maybe stronger now than a TV show or, a TV publication as the medium in which people see you. So what did it look like in season 3? Because some of the stories that I think people have probably heard from other groups in the outdoor industry and other TV publications is And this is all really fascinating to me, but like you had to go get sponsors, you had to pay for your TV time. You had like a huge, let's call it noose on your neck, and you have to like, put up or shut up. And is that what season 3 would have been like? Was that about in that time frame where we're going to be on the Outdoor Channel, I'm guessing, and here's what we've got to do, and guys, you got to produce? I mean, what did that feel like, if you can remember? What was what kept you busy?
So it was so new to Mike and I still at that time, because like we were the leaders of this thing, to where we're like, it was just exciting. It's like, man, we have like big boy jobs. Like I hadn't mentioned this part yet. We weren't even owners at the time. They were like, look, you guys can run this thing, and if you generate enough revenue, you'll get paid.
Yeah.
We're like, okay,
so it was kind of investor owned at that point.
It was, okay. Yes, absolutely. And
not to jab at anything that gets inside of the, I'm not going to obviously ask Mike to pull back their P&Ls, but is Dad an investor at this point?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yep. He was like the second year. Honestly, at a very minimal level too.
Okay, I was going to say, do you get yelled at Dad by Dad, or as Dad as boss, or both?
No. It was actually the two guys that were out of town.
Okay,
that, were majority investors. They own a large majority of the company, and they were like, we put all this money into this. If you guys want to try to run it and bring it back to get it back onto its feet, well, obviously you guys can get paid down the road. And we're like, okay, that sounds awesome to us. Like, if we don't, then we'll find jobs elsewhere or do something different, whatever.
Amazing.
And so we were on the Man channel at the time, is what it was called. And that was, I think, pre-Sportsman's Channel days, which I believe it turned into the Sportsman's Channel. And I could be wrong on that, but I think that's how it went. But from there, we did go to the Sportsman's Channel. And then I think like season 7-ish was when we got to the Outdoor Channel. That was always like our goal that we were seeking and headed towards. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We're like, if we can get to that, like that's the goal. And we eventually did make it there. And so at the time, like I was talking about earlier, we were putting stuff initially on our website, but like nobody was going there because they didn't even know who we were. So it was almost pointless. We stopped doing that. Looking back, man, I wish we would have stayed with that, because the more we grew, like the more traffic we would have seen there. And for most people that may not be within the outdoor space, or I don't even know what you want to call it, but once our audience grew, like we could have turned them there, and then we would have actually owned our audience. Whereas if we were, going to the Outdoor Channel or even YouTube, whatever it may be, yes, you still have an audience, and a loyal one at that, but you don't truly own the audience in a sense. Whereas if they're coming to your website, they are going to your stores.
Yep.
Yeah. But, it's obviously that hindsight's 2020. It's easy to look back at that like that, but there were other brands that did do that, like Midwest Whitetail, and then Grant Woods was doing it at the time. I don't think they still do that though. So they
have shifted to YouTube basically.
Yeah, and it's hard in this world to not go that. I mean, you have to pretty much go to YouTube now. So, but anyhow, yeah, Outdoor Channel. They're still on the Outdoor Channel today. But also on YouTube, and it's wild how much it's all changed and how many people have gone over to the YouTube space, not just as creators, but also as viewers.
Yeah,
and
for sure. I mean, I think of it this way, Mike. Why do I keep doing this? This is we say Mike too much. I think of it in my own household like we have YouTube TV. We get all the major channels. We get all those channels, but like most of my consumption would be from YouTube or a YouTube TV-esque Peacock, whatever.
Yeah.
That's where we are. And I remember in the heyday, I would call it the prime, and maybe take no slight to this, Shawn. In the prime to me of Outdoor Channel days, probably when you guys first got on it, you know, there was an era where like I knew we had DirecTV and we paid for the outdoor package. And like if we missed that outdoor package, my wife and I were going to fight in the front yard. Like that was where everything was, you know, like that's where it was. You want to see killing big bucks, you got to have the outdoor package. DirecTV, you know, Dish, they had all shifted and positioned themselves as such that you couldn't get this without having the outdoor package. So Outdoor Channel was heyday, you know. I mean, you just this is fun. If you're a young listener and you're like in your early 20s, you don't remember any of the things we're about to talk about. But do you remember TiVo? Like we would have to TiVo everything. You'd have to have like a bigger hard drive because you had too many Heartland Bowhunter episodes saved, or you had too many, you know, Realtree Michael Waddell videos saved. You could. TiVo was like, you know, we got to get home and be sure to TiVo this show. You know, it was just amazing how technology has shifted.
Yeah. It was. That was wild. I'd kind of forgotten about that.
Yeah, man.
Bit. But yeah, when Mike and I were first, oh gosh, this would have been like the 2010, 2011. We were straight out of college. We lived together in like this farmhouse, and we had a big screen TV in this like, I don't even know, 900 square foot house, huge TV in there. And we had DirecTV and we had all that stuff on there and all these hunting shows. And you're like, oh man, we got to clear out the hard drive. We got to delete some of these old episodes.
Yeah, we got to watch all these tonight. Everybody stay up because we're deleting them. You know, we got to see the shot before we can delete it again. Yeah, dude, it's insane how just everything's just at our fingertips now. So something I wanted to talk through, because this I find always very, very fun and interesting as part of your journey. I imagine in this season 3 and you know, moving forward, what has the evolution looked like of you guys? You know, start at season 3, let's say you're kind of in your resurgence. Are you having to pick the phone up and call and try to get sponsors, or what did that relationship look like then?
Yeah, we did. And in Maine,
I mean, you're having to start over, right? I mean, that's kind of what you were saying. A lot of people other than a few left. So what'd that look like?
Yeah. And I'll give credit where it's due, and that's to Mike, because he's the one that's really done the majority of that. Cause it's never really been my thing to call, you know, especially cold call somebody or whatever, or reach out to them someone I've never met and be like, hey, we're looking for a partner. And it's like, you know, they're getting hit up by 50 other people at the same time. And he's been the one that's always handled the majority of the contract negotiations or talks or relationships, whatever it may be. He's phenomenal at that. And so, yes, we had to do that, but mostly pretty much Mike. So yeah,
that's amazing.
He's done a great job at that.
That's amazing. And so today, what season are you guys going to be capturing content for this year, this fall? What season is this?
Season 19. It's pretty crazy. I've thought about that a lot. I'm like, man, here pretty soon we're just going to have to start going with the year and be like, season 25, season 26, or whatever, 2026. Well,
you guys are somehow still 26 years old and you're in your 19th season. You know, it's pretty amazing.
It's wild. It's amazing.
So season 18 is what we're seeing now on TV, correct?
Yep. And on YouTube as well. We stuck with that. Like, so with television, it's always been this way, where you're filming, you know, your fall, and then that following year you put it on television.
July 15th. So that seems to be a big, Christmas in July for all the TV shows.
Yeah, there's a few though, like, and I don't know if Bone Collector still does it this way, but for a while there, they would put all their stuff on in January and through the spring, all their new stuff. But I don't know if they still do that or not. But yeah, so with YouTube, we just stick to that same schedule because it's like, I don't know, easier for us. If our style was different, where it was more raw hunts and we could just put them together much quicker, we would probably release them right away, like semi-live. Yeah. But with the editing that we put behind our content, it's much more strenuous on our editors, and it takes too much time to be able to do it that way for us, at least for our model.
Well, and having to put all these big deer through AI into your videos and, I get it. It's got a lot
too. Yeah. The AI has changed it. We can, our deer have all grown 100 inches.
It's like, guys, we don't even have to try hard now. I mean, we can make a 120, a 170. It's fine. So
AI is so crazy. Like, we posted a video a few days ago, and it was just it was a kill shot of a deer. It's not a really big deer. He's probably like 130, 140 inch deer. And it was like, it was a heart shot and blood's just going everywhere. And people like comment on there and they're like, this is AI. And it's like, no, but I can understand why they would say something like that.
Yeah.
Because the world we live in now, it's crazy.
Well, all I heard was Shawn said 130 to 140 wasn't a big deer. So anyway,
there's been bigger. Hey, that's pretty much all I'm hunting right now. So,
dude, so we got to fast track this because there's too many topics for us to talk through. We're at season 3 and we're now to 19. So here's what I want to ask. From season 3, and we're talking through the deep depths of getting to where we're at now. He's filming for season 19. I'm sure, Shawn, there's got to be a few things that pop up that are some of those memorable time moments. And what I'm looking for is some of those defining moments. Because I think the thing that we're all scared to talk about the most with socials and with our fake Instagram life and all the things that we compare ourselves to Shawn Luchtel, and he just looks like the most amazing hunter and the most beautiful footage. And I'd kill big deer too if I was hunting where he was. Okay, so let's just dispel all that. Think back to some of those defining times, those really low moments. What comes to mind that are part of the journey that gets you to today that I think people may have probably not heard about?
Man, that's a tough question.
I'm putting him on the spot, everybody. I didn't give these to him prior. And I'm talking low points, even maybe business. Could be a hunt, could be you and Mike having a fight. I don't even know. I'm just saying, we all only see the beautiful.
Him and I have never we've never had anything crazy like major disagreements or anything like that. Like normal bickering, stuff like that, that's common, but we've never had anything where we're like, man, I'm done with, at least to my knowledge. I'm done with it. I'm done with this dude. It's never been like that. But,
I'll send Mike a message and see.
Yeah, he might say different. I don't know.
Like, well, it's because I was right. He was wrong.
Yeah. No, I remember a time though where this would have been, gosh, I can't remember if that was like season 4 or 5, but he had an Iowa deer tag, and it was the first time we'd ever hunted the state of Iowa. And we got an invite from a friend up there, Jason Smith, and he's in western Iowa. And so we go up there and we hunt on this 200-acre farm that he had. I think it was a listing at the time. And he's like, you guys can hunt it. And actually, it would have been like season 4. And he's like, you guys can hunt it. And, there's some decent deer on there. I think he had a couple trail cameras on it or whatever. So we hunted it. I don't know, maybe a week or so, 5-7 days. And we got close. We had a big deer that we were hunting come in, and Mike didn't end up getting a shot. I can't remember if he saw us in the tree or smelled us or whatever, but I remember him leaving, no shot. And so we're like, all right, we're all in on this. Like, we're going to hunt this evening, and we're going to go to the other side of the farm, the direction he went, and we're going to get into this bedding area. And it's during the rut. And we're gonna, we're just all in on it. Yep. And so we go in there to hunt, and this is in the Les Hills, so it's like really hilly country right off the Missouri River. And so we get in there, and I remember we're hunting and in this tree, and like there's kind of cedars here and there and whatnot, pretty uptight, close personal area with the deer and everything. So like they could just pop up out of nowhere, and the wind was swirling. We had this doe come in, and she starts blowing at us, and like just super annoying. And
I've never had that happen.
Yeah. And I can't remember, I don't know if we were giving up or if it was just dark or whatever, but I remember we were obviously not happy. And when that's going on. And so we had taken the camera off of the arm. We were packing up to leave. And I set the camera down. At the time, this was like I can't remember. It was a Sony camera.
FX1,
I think it was an EX1.
Yeah, okay.
It was an EX1. So this was probably like a $6,000 camera at the time, which was extremely expensive. Still is expensive to this day, but extremely expensive to us at the time, because we don't have hardly a dollar to our name. And I set it on the seat of my tree stand, and we're packing up the arm, and that doe blew again. And I like turned to like wave her off or whatever, because we were, not happy. I caught the camera with, I don't know if it was a zipper or hit it with my backpack, what it was, knocks it off the stand, falls to the bottom of the tree. And like, I see it hit and I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
is that all you said?
I don't remember. Probably not. Probably more than that. And so I fly down the tree, and I can't remember the exact damage, but it was very, very visibly damaged. And I'm like, pack it up. We're leaving. We packed all our stuff, pulled the stands, everything, and went home. And like going home, I remember I'm like, we're done. Like, this is it. Like, I don't even know what this is going to cost to fix. Like, I don't have the money for this, and blah, 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 blah. And, I thought for sure we were done, but there's been plenty of times throughout the career where I've gotten upset like that and been like, oh, I'm done. I quit. Like, this is over with. Like, this is a waste of time and money and whatever. And ended up paying for it. Obviously, I think it was like $1,100, which was still very, very expensive. And
talking tech here for a second. We're talking a camera it's likely the lens is not a fixed lens. It's a zoom lens, but it's fixed to the camera. So like I'm making a guess in my head here that when you break a camera lens from the body, like this isn't like today. Mike's got me into this mirrorless, realm, and you break a lens, you at least can take the camera body and put it on something else and kind of keep going. Right. But in that time frame, I remember shooting, I had my bow at full draw one time and I shot the viewfinder off with the string. I got too, yeah. And I mean, dude, when I talk about like, we couldn't find the viewfinder, it zoomed it. And it didn't matter. They were, it didn't matter. They had to just put a new viewfinder. But I remember that moment too, thinking like, this is going to cost like $400 or something. Like I can't afford. And I did video work, video depositions, legal video work. So like it was my work stuff. So know what those moments felt like. So do you remember kind of what Mike's sentiment was during that time frame?
Less than mine. He's usually not fly off the hinges as much as I am. So he was definitely upset, but he wasn't like, it's the world's falling apart. He was just like, yeah, this is a terrible hunt. Like this hunt's over with. We're out of here. But, since it wasn't his fault too, that may have been another reason why he wasn't so upset.
That's sidebar, but it wasn't him that knocked it off. That's funny.
So another one that comes to mind too, this wasn't like a bottom of the barrel type moment.
And by the way, I want to make sure everybody heard here too, like, yes, one of his lowest moments of his career is a snorting doe. So yes, everybody, we all are equally as mad at snorting does today.
That's right.
So when you make the reels about if she blows, she go, like, I'm with you, man. Snorting does are the worst. So carry on.
They really are. Yeah. So this story wasn't like one of the lowest, but it was a wild one. And it reminded me because of what the story I just told with the camera breaking. So Skylar and I were hunting, I don't know, this is probably like 12, 13 years ago. Yeah, 12, 13 years ago. And we were in this thin, I'm trying to remember what kind of tree it was. It was an ash tree. And it like, maybe it was an elm. It winded up and then there was a straight part. Well, for filming a hunt with two guys in the tree, you got to have a little more length in that straight part than most guys do for just their single stand. Yep. So put him there behind me, a little bit higher up where the tree got a little bit thinner. And at the time we were using the bottom of a lone wolf climber, as just the platform for the cameraman to stand on. He wouldn't sit down. He'd just stand. That's it. And so he's up there. I get him set. We're hunting or whatever.
This is pre-saddle era too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's harnessed in and everything, and he's got the arm there and all that. And I think it might have been a little bit drizzly. I don't really recall if that's what was going on or not. But anyhow, he adjusted, like moved in the stand or whatever, and the platform literally just
dropped off.
Collapsed, just dropped off. It's like a rubber cable, yeah. It just bent. Those bent on each side, and the platform just went up against the tree. Well, he obviously dropped, and when he dropped, he grabbed the arm, and the arm broke off the tree.
I can vividly see all this happening. I know exactly What's going on?
And I'm looking the other way and I hear it and turn around.
You're like, what the heck, dude? Shut up.
Well, no, I knew something had happened. And I turn around to look and he's just dangling from his harness. And he's like, oh my, like freaking out. And the camera hit the ground with the arm and everything. And it was an EX1. I don't remember if it was the exact same EX1 from before, but the camera or the lens snapped off, like broke off the camera.
Not supposed to, everybody. Yeah.
Right. And I'm sitting up there and looking at him and I'm looking at the camera and then I just start laughing and he's like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, 'cause you're alive. And he's like, what do you mean? The camera's broken. And I'm like, dude, you're alive. You're hanging here. Like, you could be down there with the camera. You're here. Like, that's why I'm smiling and laughing. Like, I'm glad you're alive.
Oh, it makes me think of Step Brothers. Brennan, you're alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
we'd have to bring Skylar back on to ask, what his thoughts were then. But how did that night end? What happened from there?
We climbed down, and obviously that's the end of the hunt. It was still plenty light out, but I'm like, no, we're done here. And I took a picture of him because he was still mad and upset. Like, it was his fault. I took a picture of him holding the camera and the lens, and he's just like mad. And I'm like, dude, it's not a big deal. Like, the camera can be fixed. Your life's more important and everything. And,
you have a couple more $100 by that story, so it didn't hurt as bad. Yeah.
No, I'd already witnessed the camera breaking before, so it was nothing new for me there other than watching somebody dangle from their safety harness.
Well, and just so everybody knows, he filed a lawsuit with Lone Wolf, got $400,000, and that's how the show is what it is today, everybody. So
no, it was that it had to be. It was the slick bark, either
sure.
from
and
rain
a small
or just
tree.
that. Yeah, small tree.
Double combo there. That's I'm Shawn. I didn't use saddles until last year, and I'm like, okay. By the way, love me some Novix. Everybody, love everybody. I use hang on stands and all that above. But from a filming perspective, the saddle is the game for your single stand setups. For me, for sure, I'm just like, no, it's good. I'll take my saddle. I'm good. Like, I'm more comfortable in that being the videographer than I am being standing, because I would do the same thing. I don't usually ever sit. I just stand, so I'm always ready. But that's man. But it's good what I'm hearing, Shawn. That's good here, and I'm hoping you guys give yourselves enough credit. Anybody listening to this that's ever had a partnership, whether it's small or look at their career now, you guys are going on 25 years together. I hope you both hear it enough. And for this section, I wish Mike was on here, but go you guys. Look at this, man. Like, how many people dream of having that childhood friendship centered around hunting and what they could do with it? And oftentimes, way too often, life happens. Legit stuff happens. People age, people change, and it doesn't work out to stay together forever. It doesn't work out in business. It doesn't work out personally, professionally, whatever. And look at you guys. You're in your 19th season. You're going on 20 years doing this together. And you're telling me, here's the best part. You're telling me, the point of all that, you're telling me some of the lowest moments are tree camera arms breaking, lenses breaking. You're not telling us some of the lowest moments were you and Mike are in a parking lot and a fast food joint in the middle of nowhere, about to go fisticuffs because you're worn out, tired, haven't slept in weeks, aren't killing deer, sponsors are dropping, whatever you want to say, paint the really dark, low chapter picture. You're not saying that happened. And maybe it did, everybody. He just doesn't remember. But
we've had sponsors fall off and part ways and go different directions, and had extremely significant revenue drop from that. And that's never torn Mike and I apart. We've never been like, well, it's your fault or whatever, or this was dumb or whatever. But it's more or less like, man, this is terrible. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? And I'll just say, like, it's been a blessing to be able to have somebody like that to work with. That, like, he always has hope and optimism. And I may not be that way as much. Yeah. So it's been easy to work with someone like that. And then, like, we've just been blessed to be able to have other loyal partners that have stuck with us for so long, that have helped us, get through those tougher times.
Yep. So. Yeah. And I don't want to make light of anybody that has been on their cast or in their crew and in their friendship and their circle. of production. Cause I know, I keep equating this to having been in a band. I toured in a band at a high level and did that prior to this. So I got to see a lot about what's very similar about what you guys have done is when you see a band that goes from nothing to something, and we've all watched it, you generally have some of the same struggles. This is a partnership. Well, it's all about, it's centered around something we love doing together, but it is a partnership. It's a business. It's the highs and lows. We're in this together. It's, rowing in the same direction and it's hard. So in my career in the band world, like you see people fall apart. And usually when you peel the layers back, there's been a falling out. There's been a hardship. There's been money problems. There's been emotional problems, whatever it is. It's very, it's just fulfilling to hear, how long of a trajectory you guys have had. So go you, God is good. Mike, if you're listening, go you. This is awesome. So we can talk for hours and hours and hours and get all the way to 19th season. If you guys, I think you should just turn this podcast off if you haven't already seen some amazing hunts from Shawn and Mike and the crew, because they have numerous amounts of amazing hunts that just literally are flooding my brain of things that have really, really impacted me. But I want to shift gears because I get to run this thing. I want to go to what it's like. And Mike and I talked about this. Mike, dude, just change your name for me. I'll just call him Shawn. Shawn and I talked about this prior to our recording, is that I am super envious and jealous of him in the sense that he gets to hunt with his father. And, we were talking about how few people probably get to share the depth of the memories that they have. So what I want to shift gears to is, and in my notes, guys, I don't typically, I usually have a bunch of notes. I got chicken scratch 4 or 5 notes. I want to shift to hunting with Dad and kind of what that's been like for you, Shawn, and what comes to mind. Because when I think of some of the best hunts you guys have had, I can't remember what you guys called the deer last season. Maybe it was 2 seasons ago, but he kills a deer. That hunt to me was one of my favorite hunts to watch, and just seeing you guys interact together. What's it been like hunting with your dad?
Man, it's for sure been a blessing. Just speaking out loud, truthfully, I forget that a lot too. I take it for granted, and I wish it didn't, because it won't always be there. That's not always going to be there. There'll be a day that comes where we won't be able to do that anymore. Yep. Man, he's the one that got me into it. He's the one that just had the drive and passion for it when I was so young. I think he started when he was about 19. His dad was a federal game warden, and that was what kind of sparked his interest into the outdoors. And my dad wanted to be a game warden. Growing up, that was he looked at his dad and was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do what my dad does. And then he quickly figured out that's not for me. My dad spends all of his time in the outdoors, but he actually doesn't spend his time hunting and fishing because he can't. He's working all the time, and he was often gone all the time. And so my dad's like, well, I don't want to do that. I can't, if I want to be able to hunt and fish. And so, anyhow, my dad introduced me to it, and, we've been hunting and fishing together since I was, a little tiny kid. And so, moving into my professional career, he's the one that even introduced me somewhat to that by basically, well, he didn't introduce me to Heartland Bowhunter, but he obviously had ownership, like I was saying earlier. And so he was invested in that, and he was invested in it for me. So he's invested into me my entire life. And, so why not try to, invest in him and film him because he's doing it. And if he wanted that, if he didn't want it, then I wouldn't have done it. But he was like, yeah, sure. If you want to film my hunt, absolutely. Why don't I try filming too? And that part hadn't worked out so well. He would say the same.
So he's not your top cameraman first call basis.
No, he still does some here and there, but I'll have to really guide him through that.
You have to set on auto mode.
And I get it. Yeah, but there's things that he does, golly, if something's wrong, if something is broken on a tractor or whatever it may be, he can fix it, and he will fix it. I can't do that. Yeah. So he has his perks. Like he is the maintenance man for me. Absolutely. Because if it came to me fixing the stuff, it wouldn't get fixed. I'd have to take it somewhere because I can't do it.
That's amazing. You'll let it slide a little bit on his, the depth of his camera skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like over the years, I've filmed some incredible hunts. We've had some amazing moments. And I think the hunt you're referring to, that was probably 4 or 5 years ago, actually, where he killed his biggest buck to date. And it was incredible.
I want to say it was late. It was late, I want to say.
It was like right around Thanksgiving. So it was where they're kind of transitioning from the rut into late season food sources. But the buck he killed was definitely still rutting and just in there checking does that were feeding.
What was the buck called? What'd you call the buck?
We called him Twin 10.
That's it.
He looked like another 10 point. Like there was another one that looked very similar to him years prior to that. And so we were like, oh, we'll call him Twin 10. And I don't remember what we called the other one, but I know we didn't end up killing him. And so it was a phenomenal hunt. We were just on the ground in a ground blind and everything was eye level. And from a filming standpoint, that's just like, that's perfect because you're level with your subject.
Yeah.
And so it was just that much more cinematic. And the way that it all played out and everything was pretty wild hunt. And it was just great to be there to experience. Like, I'm so glad it was him killing that deer. It was amazing. But we've had our low points too.
I want to hear about them. We all want to hear about them.
Man.
I mean, obviously we're going to incriminate Dad, but dude, I was telling you before we started, I mean, this is just something that most people won't get to create. I told Shawn earlier, my dad doesn't hunt. He hunted maybe, I think when he was like 16 or 18, he doesn't hunt. And my stepdad hunts with me, but he is about 1/50th of the drive of hunting that I am. So it's very, very different. He hunts as long as it's not too windy, too cold, too hot, too rainy. If he feels like it, as long as the leaves don't need raked, that's about it. So we don't really share some of the things that I've gotten to watch guys like you and Jeff Lindsay and guys that have really gotten to hunt with their dad. And we've gotten to see that and see the story. So yeah, if I'm the only guy that reminds you, hey man, it's super, super, super cool what you're doing. And he won't be there forever. And this isn't to get dark at all, but you got a part of your story that's interwoven that I think most guys would just dream of having. So I'm sure you've had low moments. I mean, I'm sure you've had.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. But yeah, we just, you feed off someone else's energy, oftentimes when you spend a lot of time with them. And so if it's him getting frustrated or me getting frustrated, it bleeds right over to the other person. And so, there's been times where he'll do something and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, what is going on? And like, how many times have we done this? And you're doing that. Like, what are you thinking? And, we'll start to bicker back and forth. And there's been times where we're like, all right, let's just go. Like, we're not getting along. Let's go. And we never go. we get to that point, and then that's like the point where it's like, all right,
you stay on this end of the blind, I'll stay on this side. Don't talk to me, don't look at me, just tell me if a deer's coming.
But that doesn't, the older I've gotten, like, and really what it stems from is like our level of I guess competitiveness, seriousness with the hunt,
passion,
which is the passion. But at the end of the day, like you realize, like, this isn't why we started hunting. Like, this isn't like to get you come here. We came out here originally for a release, like to be with God, be with nature, and just away from society. And then now we're out here like getting way too serious with it, and getting into fights or bickering, whatever it may be. Like that's not worth it. That's not why we're here. So I would say over the last few years that has definitely declined. And if we get to that point anymore, I'm like, all right, man, like, don't, like, stop, rethink what you're doing. Like, it's not worth it. And so it doesn't happen that often anymore. But
so I want to have some fun here. We're not putting Dad on trial here, but what are because I have a feeling it might be some of the same stuff my stepdad and I bicker about. What do you guys get into it about? And Dad, we love you. We love you, Dad. We're just asking.
I do love him.
What do you get in? What are the things that tip your trigger here?
Well, there's one that came to mind. I remember, and this was all on video. I don't think we ever. I don't know if we ever showed it or not. And like the bloopers or the outtakes at the end, we may have. But he ended up killing a deer this same hunt. But it was during the rut, and he's rattling. And he's like looking around, rattling, and his one of the tines of his antlers goes through the carabiner of his harness, the metal carabiner, and he just keeps rattling through it.
Clang.
And I'm
clanging.
like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Your carabiner's stuck in the tine of the antler, and you just keep going." He's like, "Well, I didn't even know." I'm like, how do you not hear that?
This deer got
like,
stuck in a fence, Shawn.
Yeah,
okay.
Like surely the deer hears it. I'm
this deer's fighting for his life. Okay.
Yeah, and
that's
I
a good one.
He's like, let's go. Like, you're no fun to be around or whatever. And I'm like, pay attention to what you're doing. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Oh, that's hilarious.
That was one moment.
So wait, now he gets to have you eat crow. Does a big buck come in from his carabiner rattling sequence?
I can't remember if it actually came in from that sequence or another one, so I don't recall. But it was either that one
Dad
or the one right after
that.
Yeah, probably one of the two for sure. But he ended up killing one right after that, and it was obviously funny to look back on and think about. Other ones. So over the last 5 to 7 years, his hearing's gotten a little worse, and so I'll be saying something or whatever.
I feel that one.
Yeah.
He's like,
and,
what? And I'm like,
yeah. And so anymore, like it used to really frustrate me and I would get upset about it. I'm like, why don't you get hearing aids?
Turn your mic on and I'll give you a headphone. That's what I've actually thought about doing. I'm like, I'll give you an earpiece or something.
That's not a bad idea.
You know, just leave your lapel on so we can just talk and you can actually hear me.
Yeah. And now I just know, like we hunted yesterday together and I just talk louder, and if he can't hear me, he'll be like, "What'd you say? Huh?" And so I just repeat it louder, and I'm fine with it. It is what it is. Like
we just lose deer over it. It's no big deal.
We might, and if we do, I do my best to accept that.
So good. So what? Some of mine, I don't know if any of these help you come to mind of other things, but some of mine, like we'll talk about stands, and some of these stands we have are like the same stands. They're like the tried and true, and I'm like, well, I was over in the North Saddle, and he's like, no, where? And I'm like, you've been there like 100 times. I don't even know how to explain this to you. You know the stand in the cedar? And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, that's what's hard because I don't even know why you don't know. Or he'll get I'll tell him how to go to a stand. I'm like, it's the easiest thing in the world. It's on Onyx. It's dropped a pin. It's like the only tree in the area. There's bright eyes. Dude, 8:20 a.m. He's like, I can't find the stand. I've walked everywhere. I'm like, of course you have. Of course you have. Like you probably walked every trail that you're supposed to be hunting too, didn't you? You know, like I walked 100-yard circle all morning and just now found it. I'm in the stand now. Like, good. That's so good. So stuff like that.
Our communication with stands, we're up to par on that. But deer, on the other hand, no, and anymore. I don't share with him all that much up until the point of us actually hunting because I'm like, he ain't gonna remember. So I'm just like, here's the deer we're hunting. Yeah. Here's another one that could potentially show up
not hunting
or
him.
Whatever. Yeah. Or he'll ask if it, he may forget even while we're hunting. You're like, what deer is that? And I'm like, the one I showed you earlier. Yeah. But I just don't share as much anymore because I know that the question's probably going to get asked again. Yeah. And it's fine. It's no big deal.
I know for I probably don't have near the stuff you have, but I'm fortunate to have a handful of properties where it's a lot to know what is what and where is what. And they don't, my stepdad, he doesn't usually know exactly where these cameras are or like, all right, where is this deer coming from in this picture? Right. Or what's going on? Because I'm out there doing that stuff all the time, moving stuff. And so I'm kind of the same way. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're hunting this deer. We're going to get in this stand. And then he'll ask me like the day of his hunt, if I can't be with him, he's like, hey, north wind, where do you think I should hunt? And I'm like, Oh man. You just make something up. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't studied this, so I'm not ready for that question. But yeah, but I do know what you mean when we have to step back and say, it's not going to be forever. It's not. My stepdad's 76 and I have to remind myself I'm 36. He's got 40 years on me of drive to do this, level of, drive to want to go hang stands, level of drive to want to go hunt when it's 80 degrees. Like I just have to continue to remind myself, like he just doesn't, it's fine. Like it's fine. My favorite part about my stepdad, and we can shift back, is he goes on this, I call it his wild hogs hunt, but him and his buddies go on this hunt wild hogs hunt off of whatever that movie is. But I think it's Wild Hogs. I think the movie's called that. But anyways, he and a bunch of buddies go west. They take an RV and they go west and hunt antelope with a rifle like every year. And here's the best part, Shawn. Guess when they go to hunt these antelope with a rifle in Wyoming? Every single year.
I would have guessed like right around now, but
nah, dog. That'd be great if they would. They go November 1st through the 12th. And I'm like,
oh wow.
You own a farm in Ohio. You own multiple farms in Ohio. And then he comes home and he's tired for a week, right? Just because he went hard. And then by about the 19th of November, he'll get in a stand. He's like, well, I'm not seeing anything. Like, yep, we do this every year, every single year. And I'm sending him videos, while he's out in Wyoming. And I always joke, and my mom and I joke, sometimes they even hunt when they go on that trip. So, they're mostly just sitting around. And I'm like, yep, the bucks are cruising like you are in Wyoming every year. And then you come home and you're mad because you don't see any deer. And we do this every year. We do this every single year. So I just try to get him set on late season. Usually I'm trying to, get something set up where he can hunt late season.
That's kind of how my dad's been. And credit to him, he doesn't, he's 68, I believe. And, he doesn't get too tied up with that stuff. Really. And he's just like, well, whenever it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so like this year, if he's going out of town, I don't remember if he's going to Mexico or where he's going. I can't remember. He told me on vacation with my mom, and it's like the last week of October, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm okay. I'll go hunt.
Yeah.
And then,
so you mean I don't have to tell you where to be for a week? Awesome.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. And whenever he comes back, we may hunt together. I may be hunting somewhere else. I don't know. And if I am elsewhere, he's just usually like, okay, I'll just wait till you get back or whatever for you to film me. And he won't go. And like the last few years, he's killed one late season, and he's fine with that. And I'm like, all right, if you're fine with it, I'm good with it too.
Dude, I love some late season action. There's days in the rut, I'm like, I can't wait for late season. I don't even like this. I know there's a ton of, we all like the rut for what you see in the rut, but it seems like 90% of the rut, we don't like the rut. And then the 10% when the right deer rocks through and you shoot it, you're like, oh, I love the rut. It's amazing. But usually you don't. Oh, yeah. Usually you don't love the rut.
Well, yeah. And then you spend like 3 weeks hunting as hard as you possibly can, and you don't get a deer. You're like, I absolutely hate it.
Right.
Like, I'm tired of getting up every single morning to hunt for a deer that could be 2 miles away,
Yep. Yeah, or the neighbor killed and we just don't know yet. That type of
hunting deer that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I've got we have had a real bad EHD hit here in Ohio and Southern Ohio, and some of my best deer I think have gone on to be with the Lord. So we're checking stuff, but.
I thought we were seeing the same thing. In fact, I found a doe behind my house sometime last week, and I've yet to find a single dead buck, but they were disappeared.
Yep.
A few of them disappeared for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then this cold snap, arrived, and there they are. I was like,
yep.
They actually still are alive.
It's insane, dude. Yeah, we're that's where I'm at. I don't. I've had deer I was excited about this year, but I don't currently have any of them patterned, and I think my top two are dead now. So that's my suspicion is that they're dead. So I want to stay with Dad here for a second. Something that Shawn and I were talking about offline that I'd like to ask anybody that comes on here and is willing to talk with me. Obviously, my podcast, for me, it's important to continue to build people's belief, continue to tell the story about what land has done and how that land has shaped the foundational corners of most of our trajectories. We're spending all this time talking about a life that Shawn has created through land. I mean, it takes land to produce the content that they live by. So the question always is, when you think of legacy through land, when you think of that, and that's what this podcast is for me. When I paint that picture and I'm sitting on a tailgate and I'm just, dreaming about this vision that I aspire to, recreate, or this vision that I aspire to be like, who comes to mind for you? And you said your dad.
Yeah, my dad for sure. I remember at a young age, I don't remember how old I was, but he was just like, yep, they're never going to stop, they're never going to make more land. Yeah. Like, you can't. God created that. And so it's only going to go up from here. If you ever want to buy it, you better get on it right away and don't pass up your opportunity. And there's still been countless times over the span of my life where he's looked at land and been like, oh yeah, I don't know, it's a little too much. And then 5-10 years down the road, he's like,
yep,
I wish I would have bought that.
Yep.
Like, oh, and he can recall all of them, like, oh, it's this and this and this, I could have bought at that time for this amount, and
yep.
Look at it now. Like, that was, but there's been also a lot of, acquisitions that he's been blessed with and pulled the trigger on, and still has to this day, that are, worth quite a bit more than what he paid for. So, that's what I think back to. And, in fact, where I live on 5 acres here, and then my brother lives in the house next door, which is where, I grew up, with my parents and everything, and my family. And my parents now live across the road from him, and my sister lives next to them. So literally my entire family is right here.
That's awesome.
And my parents and my grandparents, which both my grandparents on my dad's side, they're gone now, but they all bought land out here back in like 1990. And back then it was just, golly, like, I think it was probably worth at the time like $1,800 an acre. Now, there's land down the road that's selling for $30,000-$40,000 an acre.
Yep.
Like, it's insane. And I just remember, I'll never forget that at a young age, my dad telling me that, and kind of like trying to instill that in me, that like, look, like, the inventory for land is never going to continue, is never going to grow. So,
yep.
If you're going to buy it. Don't look back once you do. 'Cause yeah.
So does something come to mind too? I mean, when you talk, obviously it sounds like he's been very successful in business and in land. Are there any kind of moments in your upbringing or your young adulthood that come to mind that you just think, I've never been able to articulate this myself, Shawn, where like my brain would say, gosh, I love this, or like, man, this is amazing, or God is good, at like when I see this vision. But for me, the one that I have trouble articulating is I grew up on my grandpa's farm in West Virginia, and he was a cattle farmer and a man's man. And, you don't pay anybody to fix anything. You do it yourself. And, like you're talking about your dad, very mechanically inclined, all these things. And so I think for me at a young age, before I could articulate it, I would have to remember being a teenager, bow hunting on his property, just watching the sunset, watching deer come out into the fields, and feeling that cool breeze on your neck. And I think my 16-year-old self wouldn't know what that is, but God was saying, this is legacy. Like this is. Because my mom talks about her dad, like, my grandpa like barely could read. My grandpa was very dyslexic. He was very blue collar, I mean, he learned to read the Bible once he got saved. He had this radical transformation once he got saved.
Oh, wow.
When my mom was a teenager, literally couldn't hardly read and learn to read the Bible. And so, when my mom would talk about and paint this picture of, cause I obviously my grandpa didn't pass away until I was 25 or 6 years old. So I had a great life with him, but, like, he didn't know what he was creating. You know what I mean? Maybe he did, but he never said it. He just showed it. And so for me, does any of that kind of stuff come to mind with you and your dad, where you kind of like, even if you've never admitted it to yourself, you step back and say, this is legacy right here, like this moment?
Yeah, I would say, the moments growing up right here where I'm at,
have to be, man.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah. All in all, like, here behind my house and my brother's house, it's like a total of roughly 60 acres. And that's where I learned to hunt, and my brother and I both, and we would my dad, he was busy with work a lot too. So he wasn't going to like tell us do or don't. Like he wanted us to kind of figure it out on our own, but we'd go out and hunt basically every day of the fall that we could. After we get out of school at 4:00, and we'd still go hunt even after daylight savings, like sundown, like 5 p.m. So we'd go hunt for like an hour. Like we spook deer walking in, and on top of that, like we had I didn't even learn that like deer could smell you.
Oh, dude, me too. This whole wind thing, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, until I was like a teen, but like we'd go hunt the same stand for 2-3 weeks straight. And be like, man, it was so good the first few times. Like, I don't understand why they're not coming back.
Yeah, dude. But you know, man, Shawn, like you step back and I mentor a young man that you've probably talked with, Braden, and you've met Braden at the Bowhunters thing. Yep. You know, we call him the prodigy. Well, he's 20 now, and those kinds of things that we're sitting here talking about, I really worry because how I'm teaching him, like he doesn't experience some of that hard stuff on his own. He knows to hunt the wind now. Like, dude, we had to learn this the hard way. We had to learn about ground scent. I had to watch a doe lick the branches the entire way that I walked in and watch her know the direction I walked in to like learn this stuff. No one told us.
Well, Mr. Ace 19 score on his ACT 5 times in a row. I learned a lot of that stuff from people telling me. So I didn't learn. I was just out there. I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah. You have to fail forward, you know? I mean,
yeah,
you do.
But I was just failing.
Oh, dude, for sure, man. I honestly wish I hadn't started filming hunts as early as I did, Shawn, because I ate so much tag soup that I think has hurt my own career because I didn't kill a bunch of bucks because I got this whole like, well, if we're not getting it on film, we're not doing it. And I didn't stack a bunch of deer up like I probably should have. You know what I mean? Looking back, I didn't stack a lot because I was eating tags. Yeah,
I understand that, but
that's why I suck at hunting. Everybody, just to clear the verbal air here. That's why I've killed 3 big deer. Okay.
I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with timing too, with like the industry. Like a lot of people were actually figuring that stuff out and sharing their information at the time where I was really starting to grow in the
100%
the sport or whatever you want to call it.
And the availability of that information was rapidly progressing. When we were coming up. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, because I don't think it's Braden's fault now. He can just get on YouTube and see all these articles and things. We didn't. Yeah, that was just coming out.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, back to that. Like that's definitely where it started. Like just going out there and with my brother and just hunting the crap out of it.
Dude.
We kill a few here and there, but no, it was like, no trail cameras because they weren't around. And like just thinking, that giant could step out any time and we'd kill a decent buck at that every few years. And then eating tag soup all the time. But it didn't matter. It still didn't matter. It was just like being able to go out there and do it was just a blessing in itself and so cool to experience. I graduated with 5, my brother and we graduated with 500 and I got a twin, by the way. I don't even think I ever mentioned that on here.
Shut up.
Yeah.
No
and
way.
So we graduated with 550 kids in our high school. And, Mike and I were the only ones that really shared that deep passion of bow hunting. There was, maybe 1 or 2 other guys that were somewhat serious, but not like us about it. So,
and does your brother do much with hunting now?
No, not really.
Okay.
He's got 3 kids though. He's very tied up with that, him and his wife and his job and everything else. But no, he's never been, I don't think, quite as serious. We were serious growing up, but he just, his personality, I would say, he's just never been like crazy diehard into one certain thing all the time. Pretty well balanced, honestly.
Do you envy that sometimes? I envy those people in my own life sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I wish I wasn't as eaten up with hunting because I think it's hurt my professional career sometimes more than it's helped, for sure. Because I get very clouded. You know what I mean? I get like right now there's a cold front. I'm like, well, I'd just rather go out and hunt, and like there's 700 things I could actually be doing. But
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure. I do envy that because I'm I heard my mom call me this a few months ago. She's like, yeah, you're kind of just a little bit of an extremist sometimes on things. I'm like,
like, I'm not sure if I'm blushing or mad.
No, I don't get mad about it. I agree with her. Like I do get that way when it just, you hyper focus on stuff, and it can be probably unhealthy to a little bit.
I think so. But I think there's a delicate balance there. I'm never a guy to say, hey, go read a book. But on that note, Shawn, if you want an easy read or an easy audiobook, go listen to the book Chase the Lion by, I got it behind me, actually, by Mark Batterson, I want to say. But Chase the Lion is about us, how God built it in us to chase dreams. Like he built it. And when we stop chasing, let me pull it up real quick. Yep. For watchers here, hold on. This book was really impactful for me in that regard. Chase the Lion. Yep. Mark Batterson. He is a New York Times bestselling author. I think they put that on everything, but he's a big pastor. Like you sold as an author. That's what that should say. But no, he really is. Yeah. He's a mega church pastor. But it just talks about how it literally says here, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small. And I just think sometimes we don't normalize the fact that we should go chase things, because the thing that your mom said that, and my mom would say that about me too, by the way. So hallelujah. Thank you, moms. What I take from that and what I get from it is there's people that's their lives and the blessings in their lives get to be unlocked because we took chance, because we took risk, because we paved a path. And I don't need a pat on the back. I don't. That's just what God built us to do. That is just the DNA that he built. It's very tiring. It's very exhausting. It's very lonely. I say all these things as a business owner all the time. It's very lonely being a business owner head. Yes, it's rewarding. Yes, all the, the things, but it's just like anybody, I think of Robin Williams, and I think of, there's a quote from Jim Carrey. He's like, I hope everybody goes and gets everything they ever want. I hope they go and see all the things and get all the accolades they ever want, because they'll find out that's not it. Like that's literally what he says. And, Jim Carrey is equally to me, Dumb and Dumber and multiple others, funniest guy in the world. So hearing that from someone like that, when we become an extremist, Shawn, I get that. I hear it, but I also think those extremists are the one that make the world go around. So, we're the ones crazy enough to take the risk, or dumb enough or whatever, steadfast enough to take the risk that then causes a ripple effect that causes blessings for other people. So I just choose to look at it that way. That God said, if I don't take the risk, I'm not chasing the lion. So that's a good one, man. If you're spending windshield time, go chase the lion. It's a spiritual empowerment to go keep doing this thing. Speaking of extremists, I want to shift gears a second. It's funny that I would say it that way, but we gonna talk about, because this is how Shawn and I recently talked, and I don't remember. I called him, but God actually ordained all of it, because we were talking about, if you're a viewer, that guy, I got me a half sleeve of Mr. Charlie. Wanted that as a permanent memory to what I would say. And this is my podcast, so I get to say whatever. We have tens of listeners. So, it's becoming a big thing, but, hey, you that listen, I appreciate you. Share it with your friend and your dad so we can like double up, but, it's impacted our lives, and Shawn and I were talking about that. And so I kind of want to go there, because what I know that we have to do a better job of in the outdoor industry, and I'm not going to cry. Maybe I will. It depends on what we say, but we have to do a better job in this outdoor industry, of actually pointing to our Creator more often. Like we just have to. And,
Amen.
Shawn, there's a guy that you met at that convention that's one of my very, very best spiritual friends and hunter friends, Dave Miller. And Dave is just, he's definitely worth emulating. He is somebody worth emulating. And I'll say this to kind of open up the room to how this has impacted you with Charlie Kirk's murder. David, he always talks about this idea that we go into the woods. Most times we want to go into the woods light, and lots of hunters want to come out heavy. I mean, that's the success. And for me, I met David in a very spiritually distraught, time in my career, in my life, of just really searching and seeking and like being burnt out with hunting and who I am, and am I even successful, and all these things that, if you let doubt creep in, it really eats you. And, he said, man, the thing for me is that I often go into the woods heavy and I come out light. And what I was so scared of, that I had to connect with Dave to, we'll get back on track here, I promise. But I connected with Dave because I could see this spiritual alignment in him that he was constantly talking about. He would show his hunts and he would talk about God's creation, but it was just different in a way that he spun it. Not, I saw a 4-year-old 140 making a scrape and it was a great hunt. It was, I got to see God's creation come alive. I got to see God's creation wake up. I got to see and experience the beauty of what it can only be pointed to a divine creator. We got to see colors in the fall that people I don't know usually get to experience that live in a skyscraper apartment. Like we get, and he just kind of like, you can really obviously tell that there's a deep rooted passion there for who God really is in the outdoors. And so, anyway, I always go into the woods heavy and come out light. And this whole Charlie thing was what we kind of shifted to in our conversation. So how has this, to open up the table, Shawn, how has this impacted you?
Man, I want to say at first it impacted me with, and probably even when we spoke, I don't remember if I disclosed this or not. I have to many people, but many close friends. But like there was definitely a huge sense of grief for weeks. And granted, it's been almost a month tomorrow. At least a couple weeks. I was experiencing quite a bit of grief from that because I'd never met Charlie in person, but I felt like I knew him.
Me too.
Very well, which I know. Millions of people probably have felt the same way. And so when you see something like that happen, which is not common for us to ever witness in our lives, it comes with a lot of pain and grief. And on top of that, the reactions across the country that like we all have seen, a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of different voices. Yeah. It was difficult, but the main thing that I did take away from it was that like I literally witnessed a martyr in real time, and I didn't think that I would. Again, back to someone that I somewhat knew. I didn't actually. Charlie didn't know me.
I know exactly what you mean. We all felt like we knew him, and here's why, man. And I heard this said on a reel. I saw this said on a reel one day, and it just hit me so hard. As we knew him because he was a fellow brother in Christ.
That's exactly right. That's 100% right. That's what I had told my mom. I was like, he was our brother in Christ that was
on the front line, like way more than any of us. That was, way more than us. We knew him because we were like cheering him on. He was our president of being on the front line that we should have been ourselves.
Right. And yeah. And you and I both, I'm sure, have been asked numerous times, like, or questioned, like, am I willing to give up my life for Jesus Christ? He gave up his life for me. Am I willing to do the same for him? And it's easy for us to sit here and be like, yeah, sure, right. Absolutely. But like we witnessed Charlie Kirk do that. And then when you put yourself in his shoes, like, are you truly willing to do the exact same thing? So that puts a pretty dang heavy weight on you. And, like when you truthfully answer that question deep down in your heart, like that's tough. That's very, very tough. And, it's made me think through that process numerous times over the last month. I would say it's for sure helped me grow in faith, but what it also has done has helped me step away from a lot of the different voices out there, because there was a time about a week or so after that where I was like, all right, I got to shut down. I got to get away from social media. Like, this is way too much for me. I can't handle this, dealing with the grief of that. And then hearing everybody's different takes on it. There were some great, phenomenal, beautiful takes, especially Frank Turek, his friend, Charlie's mentor. That was amazing. So he's so well spoken and amazing. The things, like you said, like he said since then, and whatnot. But there's a lot of different other voices that I was just like, I gotta get away from this. And so I've since stepped back, but that's been refreshing, peaceful. And now I feel like I'm at a good place where I need to be with my faith and all that. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Very similar. I'm very similar in all that. I think my gut reaction when this happened. So I was actually, I was out mowing a clover plot. I was out doing farm stuff, and my wife texted me and said Charlie Kirk had been shot. But we've seen this year so much with Trump that like, oh, they missed him or they nicked him or whatever. Like, so in my mind, I was literally like, oh gosh, like, it probably missed him or, I bet that was scary, but they hit him in the leg or something. And then like, 5 minutes later, I watched the close up and it's like, nah, dude, that guy's not making it from that. He is not making it from that. And my mom called me, and she's like, we're going to have to pray for a miracle. And I'm like, we can pray for a miracle, but he is gone. You don't recover from that. And I was embarrassed. I was super embarrassed for myself at that point. I was embarrassed. And it's been really therapeutic telling people that. It's really been therapeutic opening with my first, obviously, okay, so backing up, incredible, enormous amounts of grief, like immediate, just heart sinks, physically sick, want to puke, grief, because you just watched, like you said, a martyrdom. You watched this, you watched 2-day persecution. That's the thing that I've taken from this is we don't have to talk about a 2,000-year-old Bible story to talk about persecution. We don't have to think about what it might be like in China in an underground church for them to be persecuted. It happened on our own soil to our own brother. That was real persecution, and we are never persecuted. Shawn, we never are, ever. We never are. And people would act like, oh, someone called me a Jesus freak. Oh, no. It's like, no. Like we watched a dude be killed for what his beliefs build him to go do. And so obviously enormous grief, but I was embarrassed because I was embarrassed that it took him losing his life and me. There's about an hour and a half between my home farm and my house that I was on this drive and just like, he's dead and I'm talking to a handful of guys, but like the amount of the embarrassment that it took for me to process, it takes someone like him being killed for his beliefs for you to wake up, Tyler. That's what it was for me. Like, not like you're a terrible person and you're probably not even saved. None of that. It was you are, and I'm going to use a biblical word that's super dangerous, lukewarm. You're nothing right now. Yeah. You're just lukewarm, dude. You're a great dude. A lot of people love you. I called one of my friends who kind of wasn't a person of faith, and it was amazing because I think he called me first actually and was like, how do we process this? And number one, it was like, dude, this is a great way to have this conversation with you about how to process this, number one. But number two, I told him how embarrassed I was. And he was all like, no, dude, you're fine. Like, you're a great guy. You're a great family man. And I didn't do this with him, but Shawn, we have to step back and say, dude, that doesn't matter right now. I don't measure that. That's not what I'm measuring. I'm measuring, am I willing to put my life on the line to point people to Jesus? Am I willing to go be uncomfortable in messy, unwanted environments? My church did a podcast about this, and I've actually been really frustrated with it, quite honestly. But one of the guys said that Charlie lived his entire career as an away game. Charlie's entire career was an away game, and to equate it to sports, you go to an environment you're not wanted in, you go somewhere where you're not wanted to be, you're hated, and he asks people come up to the mic and, let's talk. Like, how do you discredit just the organic feel of that is, God. So anyway,
yeah, man, wow. That's deep. I hadn't thought about it like that, but that's, I know. I did.
Yeah. I didn't like the podcast overall, but I did like that. So it took that little snippet of, and my whole deal, just to kind of close that loop is, and I'm, everybody can pick how they want to be critical of how the church has or hasn't responded to this. And I have my own opinion, and that we could save that for another day, but, I'm having trouble. I'm wrestling with, I see a lot of people of faith calling this a national tragedy. And, that I don't like. That
I don't see that at all. I see it as a gigantic revival.
That's my whole deal, dude. So we are about to get fired up. We have a hard stop for he and I. So we'll come back on, and that's my whole deal is, here's my thing. Shawn, tell me if you agree with this, but to me, I have said, we all want revival to be planned. We're going to plan it. We're going to have the most amazing venue. We're going to have catering. We're going to have the seats perfect. We're going to announce it. We're going to perfectly market it. We're going to hit the right campaign and avatar on our online audience. We're going to have it 4 months in advance so we can have the right marketing. The week of it, we're going to have great videos. We're going to pick the best speakers. It's going to be air conditioned. It's going to be amazing. We're going to do altar call for an hour. And you know what God's usually like? Like, that's all great, but that's not how I said. That's not how I said
right.
it would be. I said it would be messy. I said it would be in the streets. I said it would be in places I was unwanted. I said people would have to be lowered down to me for them to get to touch me. That's how I said. And so I get fired up because and you said, I think we're seeing that right now. Let's all open our eyes. Whoopsie. We all know it's coming out of the political arena, so we're going to dismiss it. I call bull on that.
That
was not
100%.
People are talking about the ceremony, the funeral ceremony, as being political or a Trump rally. And I'm like, you're absolutely blind. That was not a Trump rally. He didn't even need to speak, by the way. I'm conservative, but Trump didn't even need to speak. But
right.
You could feel the tone in that room through the TV. You could feel that Jesus was in that room. That was not a political
Absolutely.
event.
No.
But people don't like it
all.
because it's coming from the wrong wing. I'm really frustrated because I think that's when we as faith are being numb, that just because the thing's not going how you wanted it to go, and just because people might be playing drums like Tyler, and we're not supposed to have drums in the worship, and we're only going to wear our jean skirts. Well, that's maybe not what God's doing here, you know? And anyway, you started this. Well, you started it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get political, but if you wanted to get political, you know, I don't want to say that
you can say it.
The conservative route or the Republican route is perfect. It's not at all. But if you want to go the other direction, I can tell you one thing, that it's not, and it's not biblical. If you're you're a leftist, I'm sorry,
yep.
It's not biblical. There are so many things wrong with that party that.
Well, and Charlie said this best.
It is evil.
You can go find Charlie saying, like, you know, because there's a lot of people that I've talked with that are having trouble that they don't like Trump. Okay, they don't like Trump, and I'm like, newsflash, I don't have to like everything about Trump either. When you have an election, correct me if I'm wrong, you have two options. So if you're telling me you didn't want Trump in because you would have wanted Kamala Harris, you're actually kidding me, right? You're actually kidding me, or. And this might get my podcast canceled, but we only have like 12
I don't care
followers,
if it cancels me either. I don't care.
We're both getting canceled. We're right with Forrest Frank. Don't follow us. Anyway, actually do. But anyways, like what options do we have? Number one, because I'm not a huge Trumper. Like I love Trump from a business perspective.
Right.
I think he's been great for our country, but I am not a Trump Kool-Aider. Okay.
No, there's plenty of things that he's doing wrong too, but you're not going to find a perfect candidate unless Jesus Christ is your president.
I literally said, do you not think this is not the hardest job in the world? Like we all want to sit back and be critical of the hardest job in the world. Like, let's give it a break for a second. So anyways, yeah, dismissing that this is coming from the wing that you don't like is where my real problem as people of faith is, because I would argue, and my whole thing was like, let's look at this ceremony and say, who would we like to see and feel this palpable feel of a pure Jesus in a room? Who do you think could benefit from seeing that? Maybe some of our top political leaders, maybe some of our top political officials, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was God's plan. Like, it's blowing my mind that people are like, well, but that's not the flavor that I like. Like, that's awesome. There's only one gate getting in. There's only one gate.
That's right.
Your gate isn't going to be more decorated how you want and you slide in from the side because you did it your way. There's one way in. And this is a messy revival that I see from it. I just do. But we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and what I wanted to kind of shift to, I don't want to put you on the spot, Shawn, but I really do think people are going to benefit from this. We've gotten to hear about the professional bow hunter. We've gotten to hear about the dude that's the relentless TV producer. We've gotten to hear this incredible trajectory and this journey that, like, please, if you didn't know and watch what they do, go spend an hour and watch what Shawn does, and you'll see that this isn't me talking. They are the upper echelon of what it is like to tell an outdoor story. They are that. Okay, they've set the bar. What you've been on lately that I have really benefited from seeing is Shawn told me on our call a couple weeks ago. Please don't. I'm not putting you on the spot, but he said some words that I kind of want to unpack together. He said, "I don't know that I'm as deep of I'm a newer journey of faith than you are, Tyler." And this is what kind of opened our stories up. And I said, "Hey, like I appreciate you saying that, but here's what I will tell you. And this was in light of all this Charlie Kirk stuff. Like I had a drug problem when I was a kid, meaning I was drugged to every church that was open. I was drugged to every revival that was open. I was drugged to every church Awanas. I was drugged to every youth camp, all these things. Played in a Christian band, lived in a Christian bubble circle as a kid, as a teenager, all these things. And I'm super thankful for that. Okay. Super, super thankful. But what I didn't have in my faith was this deep ownership, knowledge, depth of the Bible, depth of my own interpretations, depth of my own processing of, turmoil in my own life. I just borrowed this faith that raised me. I borrowed it for a very long time. So what I want to dismiss and then let you finally talk, Shawn, is this idea that, to me, guys, don't weigh your Christian walk. Don't measure it against someone else's, thinking one's weighted or more or less than the other. Because I very much find that Shawn and I are on the exact same journey right now. Just because I've been saved longer and had a head knowledge and been all these things longer, I'm making the strong argument for you that I'm actually open to I should say I have missed a few days, but I overall haven't missed many days since the Charlie Kirk murder of opening my physical Bible. Like, not an app, not watching TV on a Bible channel, not cheating in any version, just opening the Bible. And that's new for me. Like, that's new for me. And anybody that's listening to this, I want you to hear that. Like, that is new for me. That's what this has done. So what's it done for you? I've got, you're leading a small group. What's that like? And whatever else it's done for you, by the way.
My walk in faith so I grew up, in the Catholic Church. So there was a foundation absolutely set, at a young age through that faith. But, I've since, my wife and I and my kids have joined a non-denominational church 4 or 5 years ago. And, that's roughly when I was saved. And, there was kind of like an aha moment, but like it's been a journey in itself.
Yeah.
Like some people feel like their life was absolutely transformed at a certain second. And there was kind of like that for me. My current pastor, he spoke I went to a conservative meeting in 2020 and he was speaking on behalf of like BLM riots and all the things going on in the country and the lawlessness. And he was talking about how those are definite indicators of end times. And that was, I remember just being kind of like sinking in my chair, being like, wow, I've heard the story of Jesus and I think I know, I've heard people say like he's coming back sometime, but I don't really know that whole story in depth. But it's kind of starting to make a little bit more sense. Like, man, I might need to check myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was where it all started. And since then it's been it has been a huge transformation. I am nowhere close to the same person I was 6 years ago, completely different. And with that, obviously tremendous growth in my faith, and I praise God for that. Because I was I don't want to say, none of us are good, but I was not headed down the right path. I don't feel like I was married. I still am married, but I just don't feel like I would have had a healthy marriage, headed down the path that I was going. And with my children, it would have bled into that, obviously, and it wouldn't have been good for them either. So praise God for that. Since then, I've opened up my Bible. I've read quite a bit out of it. Have I read it front to back all the way? Not yet. I need to. Yeah, and I get that's probably my personality too. I get distracted.
Oh, me too.
I'll be like, oh man, I'm over here. I'm reading this book, and then all of a sudden I see something somewhere about another book, and I'm like, oh, I want to go read that. Yep. And I jump around quite a bit. I need to stick to more of a plan. Then I had the wise idea that at the beginning of the year, I wasn't only going to read through the Bible front to back in a year. I was going to do it in 6 months. So that required like 6 books a day.
Shoot.
And I was doing good for like 3 months, and then I got burnt out. And I'm still in the Word daily. I may miss a day or two here and there, but I'm still in it as often as I can be. And I've slowed it down, but like you mentioned, I'm co-leading a small group with my associate pastor, and it's helped me grow. Like, I don't feel like I'm great at it, but if anybody's learning in there, it's me. I feel like I'm learning, and I tell the group the same thing. Like, this is helping me grow more, maybe even more than you guys. Like, just, it helps me prepare more for what we're going to be talking about. In fact, I over prepare, like I told you earlier, Tyler, before we got on here. I feel like I over prepare, and now I've gotten to a place where I'm like, all right, prepare, but don't over prepare, and just kind of do your job. Like, you're not here to preach. You're here to just keep the conversation going and keep, help everyone stay involved. And that's really it. And I love it, man. It's been a great joy. Serving in my church has been phenomenal, which is something I never did growing up within the Catholic Church. And I'm not sitting here to hate on Catholics. I'm just telling you my story is all. And now serving in the church has been, it's so fulfilling, like giving back. And dude, giving glory to God. And honestly, in the beginning of my walk, like if we sat here and had this conversation, I would have it, but I would be far more tense about it. I'd be like, oh, man, I'm going to say the wrong thing. But now it's like, like you had said, everyone's walk is different. Everyone's, I don't know, like their level of growth in the faith is different, and trying not to compare yourself is difficult, but it is definitely best not to compare yourself. Do not do that, and try your best not to, because it doesn't help you so much.
Yeah, I think it just robs you of the ability to take the journey, take those next steps. It's something that might, here we go. I'm going to do my counter of Mike's versus Shawn's. Maybe I'll call Mike Shawn when he comes on, and it'll turn even. Shawn and I were talking before even, I honestly think maybe we had a call prior to this one where we were talking through faith stuff and the Charlie Kirk stuff. He was asking me, and I didn't even remember talking about some of this, but I kind of have a mentor in my life, a business mentor, coach, personal mentor, and he happens to be a great person of faith. And I would consider him a spiritual mentor as well. And Shawn was asking, how do you find that person? It was so cool because he starts telling me about this guy that's kind of in his sphere of influence, in his circle, in his inner circle, and, rattling all these things off. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, well, pretty sure that's your guy. And, here's how to ask him. And so I'm not saying any of this to embarrass Shawn, but what was so beautiful out of that was, and I honestly, dude, I have to look at our text, but I think our text chain was literally right between the Charlie Kirk murder, that at the same time we're talking about this, he tells me in text, because I said, hey, man, sounds like you got the guy. Like, sure, here's how you can find mentors. There's that old adage, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. Cool. But like, when you find a mentor, somebody you aspire to be like, you're drawn to them, right? You're drawn to their life, to their trajectory, and like they'll just appear. And I said, I think that's like, you're already there. The guy's already appeared to you. It's already happened. You should just talk to him and ask him, what's the worst he can say? No, or he can point you to someone else. And then Shawn texts me. He's like, dude, the guy literally, shows me the text. He'd be honored to do it. And you link up. And so I'm curious, before we get off here, how's that going?
Meeting with him on Monday for the first time.
Nice. So awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And in fact, since we last spoke, and I had shown you that, he was like, let me get with my wife. She handles a lot of my scheduling, because he is a very, very busy guy. And I'll get back to you. And so I let it go, and I'm like, it went, I don't know, that's been like 3 weeks probably. And I was like, man, maybe he forgot about me. Well, she reached out to me a few days ago, and she's like, hey, he's ready to meet with you. What's your schedule look like next week? Awesome. And so, and then he was texting me last night. So on Monday, we're going to meet together, have coffee, and, see where it goes.
You got us good. I fully trust that'll work out awesome. I'll fully trust that.
Yeah, I do too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I'm just looking for, like I had told you, like he's strictly, he would go this route, but I want him mainly just a spiritual mentor, because, he'd be a great life coach, but like his time is limited. So I'm leaning on him more towards that than anything.
Well, and it'll surprise you, man. When you find a great spiritual mentor, they're going to coach you in life, whether you know it or not. That's just the root of it all.
It is the same thing.
It is.
Yes.
The greatest business owners I know that I resonate with, that I want to be like, I also happen to know these dudes usually all have a really incredible walk with Christ. And I've just had a problem. Maybe it's God's protection on my business and my family, but I've had a problem really getting entrenched with guys that I know are not people of faith that are very successful in business. I've had kind of this aversion to it. Not like a, hey, hard pass, I don't want to talk to you, stay on your side of the street, but I'm not intentional with, leaning into that.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
I don't know. I just don't feel like I want to, I don't know what it is. I just don't have interest.
You don't want it to necessarily lead you astray from your faith.
100%. And sometimes I don't know that I have, this sounds terrible because obviously we're in the mission field, but I don't know that if I want to buy what they're selling,
right.
That's the only way I could think of saying it. But listen, I know you got stuff to do. This has been incredible, dude. Like, it means so much that you would come on here. It means so much that you'd be willing to just talk through who HB is. I got one last question and I'll leave you be. And this could maybe be the easiest one. And by the way, if you want to comment, subscribe, like, follow, whatever it is on the channel we're on, and you want to emphatically beg that Shawn come back and tell us how his fall is going, I will let him know that you're saying these things. But what are you excited about for this fall? That was going to be the last thing I was going to ask you. Maybe the easiest question. What are you excited about here in filming of season? I said 19, or is this 20?
19.
Yeah, so filming in season 19. What are you excited about? What's got you jacked?
So tomorrow actually will be will be a first for me. Tomorrow I'm going to go right out here behind my house and attempt to shoot a doe, but I'm going to take my wife, my 3-year-old, and my 6-year-old with me. And my wife's we're going to take a camera, and there's no reason we shouldn't, because it's not just for what I do, but also for the sole purpose of just having that memory.
Yeah. For the kids,
especially for them. Yep. And so we'll take like a wide angle lens to capture everything going on in the blind, and then the long lens for my wife to capture the doe if we have one come in and shoot it. But and so I told her, I'm like, look, I'm gonna try to line it up for you. Like, she's used it before a little bit, but like as far as settings go, I'm gonna handle all that, and like I'll try to line it up for you. And all you gotta do is just kind of make sure the doe's in the frame when I shoot. So we're gonna go out and do that. The boys are gonna experience it. We're gonna take, which I've been up in the air about it, but he's just too young, my 3-year-old. Like, we got to take something with us to keep him. Yeah. He's a wild man. So
you gonna take an iPad or something?
Probably so. Which we keep those away from them just as much as we possibly can, with the screen time and all that. But I wish they don't even have their own iPads or anything like that. We just have one iPad in the house, and every once in a while we'll let them look at it. But he isn't going to understand it. My 6-year-old, he understands what's going on for the most part. And he's the one that's the most pumped. So
that's awesome, man. That is so awesome.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, honestly. Like everything else that I have planned this fall, for the most part, I've experienced that stuff. So it'll be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But tomorrow is a brand new experience, and I'm looking forward to that.
That is awesome. Man, that is awesome. And it's so great to hear. The first thing that comes to mind to him that he's excited about this fall is starting that journey with his kids that your dad started with you. It's
absolutely,
it's amazing. Man. And it's a lot of work. Yep. I mean, dude, I'm not going to sit here and, I'm not going to sit here because I don't do a great job, honestly. So I have 3 daughters. My 2, we call them our big girls. They turn 10 and 12 in like a week. And then I've got a 3-year-old. And I honestly think my 3-year-old's my best chance at being my hunting partner, because my older daughters haven't expressed a ton of interest. They just haven't. I haven't forced them. I haven't forced them to. But
man, that's like my thing is I've never had those intentions now, even with sports or anything like that. I don't plan, and especially with hunting, I don't plan to force any of that on my kids. Like, if they want to do it, they want to do it. That's amazing. If they don't, that's fine too.
Yeah. And I mean, there's Dave Miller. Dave makes a great argument that the kids will want to do it if you take them with you and you teach them why you love it. They will love it too. Like, you can't force, you know what I mean? But I'm going to be doing this as well with my kids. I'm kind of going to be doing a reset here with the 10 and 12-year-olds. My 10-year-old told my wife the other day, like, I just don't love, do you think I'll hurt Dad's feelings if I don't go hunting with him? And she's like, no, you won't hurt his feelings. Like, just tell him, and they're just not that interested in it yet. And so My 3-year-old is my girl. Like, I'm a way better dad in my 30s than I was in my 20s. And just, if anyone listening, don't miss your vasectomy by a weekend because you'll have another kid. That's how this works. But my 3-year-old, that's the facts. That's heard it first. But she's my girl, and I think she'll be my hunter friend. Like, she just wants to do whatever I do. She just wants to be wherever I am. So I don't know, but it's just, that's awesome, man. Of all the things you could pick and all the accolades and I'm sure you're going on hunts out of state and you guys have got stuff planned that's exciting. What really turns your gears is being there with the family and continuing that legacy. So,
well, with my walk in faith, I will say this: if God wouldn't have gotten a hold of me, the trajectory I was on, I don't think that I would care to be home. Like I value my time more at home now than I do by far than I ever did before. I don't even think I'd be like, oh man, it's a burden to go home and hang out with them. Mm-hmm. Total opposite now.
Amen, dude. I totally know it. Like right now, we have a really good cold front. I don't know if you guys have it in Missouri right now, but we have a good cold front. I'm going to the county fair tonight with the kids because we missed it last year and they wanted to go. And we've moved them, and there's this whole journey of our world. And we've moved them. They've had to make new friends, go to a new school, a new church, new everything. And they want to go to the fair with their friends. And it's like, dude, it's a cold front. I could easily say, Molly, can you take the 3 girls? And she would. Or I can go, and be present. And I'm, by the way, everybody, I'm getting brownie points. So, it's just building up the bank.
And you're only going to experience that with your children one time.
Right. And so that's it. I've gladly said, hey, I understand it's the first cold front in October. I understand how deadly that is. Cool. Now, if I had a deer to hunt, we'd probably be bending the rules here, but I'm just choosing that. Look, I care more about being with the family right now than I do what, deer I can kill over a scrape. And they're just, anyway, they're only going to be young once. It's really hard while we're in the trenches of raising young kids. It's really hard to be able to step back to that 10,000 foot view. Your parents are like, you're going to miss this. And people tell us that. And it's usually when we're at a football game and our kids are being wrestled on the bleachers and I'm ready to rip their heads off. And they're like, you're going to miss this. Like, I don't think I will actually, but I know what you mean. I hear you, but now's not the best timing, but it's true. It really is true. I look at my 12-year-old now, she's literally looks like a 17-year-old and it makes me sick. And I just brought that kid home. 2 years ago, I can remember bringing my first kid home and how I filled the car up and it was already 3/4 full, but I didn't want to run out of gas on our 30-minute drive home. Yeah, it's all these things, it just happens so fast. So it's worth it. It's worth it to be in our kids' lives. It's worth it.
That's right.
Well,
amen, man.
Dude, we could go forever. This has been amazing. If you guys have listened this long, thank you so much. Share this with a friend. Share this with family, colleagues. If you're killing deers, let us know. And if you haven't watched Heartland Bowhunter, I will personally sue you. So send me your address and I will file a notice. But dude, the last thing that I'd leave you with, man, is I really, really appreciate you being able to be open about your faith. I really appreciate you walking in that journey. And I just know you're going to be blessed because of it. I know you are.
I appreciate you bringing it up. You're the leader of this podcast. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, dude, we should have talked about this first because we would have spent hours and hours and hours. But I challenge all of you, and I challenge Shawn in the same thing. Go out in the woods heavy and come out light because you will figure out why God built us to go back to seek him in the wilderness. It's where he formed us. And it's where we can reset. And so I'm for myself, it's such a struggle to not all of us want to go out and shoot a 5-year-old 160 buck and tell a story and have 17 such a sheds from him. And, all the, it's all great. Okay. That's all really great. But are we pointing people to Jesus? That's what needs to matter. And
that's right.
Ben Rising always says this, big deer are cool, but Jesus is king. And that's got to be that's got to be why we remember we do this is we get to experience God's creation, how he built it. As much as our world changes around us and as much as things change, those places don't. And I think that's just beautiful. It's pure. And so I don't know, remember that, remember that when we're out chasing chaos, there's a bigger picture to this.
That's right. It's his gift.
It really is, dude.
Blessed to be able to experience it.
It really is. Well, if Heartland Bowhunter needs to burn $100,000 or something on a sponsorship, we're always looking for sponsors on the podcast. So just, talk to Mike,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 500 grand, whatever. Simple, small donation would be fine. But real talk.
I'll go talk to Shawn about it.
Yeah, talk to Shawn about it and let me know if he and Mike and
No, I'm Mike.
right? Yeah. Let me know if those guys will get back on.
I appreciate you having me.
I don't think I've ever called Shawn Mike ever in our entire friendom, so I don't really know, but whatever. He loves me.
It's all good, man.
Dude, thank you so much. Good luck on all your hunts.
Thank you.
Keep me posted
Likewise.
how things are going, and we'll see you guys next week on the Legacy Through Land podcast. Peace.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode. If you're finding value in this content, we'd love to hear from you. It'd mean a lot if you could share with us how this podcast is helping you on your journey and let us know of any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Be sure to connect with us on all social platforms at Legacy Acres Land Co. and subscribe to stay updated on when new episodes drop. We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Legacy Through Land podcast, and we'll see you next week.